So I didn't actually, I guess I didn't, I don't know if I didn't hit the record button or what, but that one was...
Leave that door open until...
I know, it's hot in here, right?
That Alfa Romeo, I see.
Yeah! Yeah, I got that, it's a little pop socket. I got it, Alfa Romeo had a little party during 2019, oh, just me on. We just on! Went to the party, got some swag, had a good time.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. All right, hello, my friends. You are back listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM, brought to you by Competition Sounds. Thanks, Competition Sounds. And we're having a really good time. We are talking about the history of the Apollo here with George Finley, who was head of sales and took a big gamble jumping into a fledgling sports car company in the 60s, and it is great to hear about.
Well, perhaps floundering would be more appropriate. Floundering. Well, you know,
risky business. You know, he took a gamble. It was pretty cool. Part of history.
It was. But you know, the fact is, since we have possession of 2 Apollos, we had 3 until we had the auction last in 2019 in October. The car is a hell of a wonderful automobile.
Yes.
It is.
And I will say this, that your associate Chad, birthday boy Chad.
Yes, Chad's birthday was on the 16th.
Yeah, 16th, was part of the team that rebuilt, resurrected really from almost
a
great
shell. Just a battered shell, no less.
The first Apollo coupe that was manufactured ended up with Shook and Finley. It Shook Enterprises up on a lift and had been crunched, had been hit by looked like a dump truck.
It was rough.
I mean, it was just absolutely a piece of garbage. And we decided to
make a miracle?
Restore this car from scratch, literally. But you spent we spent a year, right?
Yeah.
I felt like y'all did that in 6 months. Like, I knew that we had a time constraint, guys. So this was, when this car got redone, this was for the 50th year anniversary of the Apollo, and it was a big thing going on in Concorso Italiano, which is a really respected event that happens during Car Week in Monterey. Now, I feel like it felt like a TV show. Y'all had to get this car that was just a battered shell into a concours vehicle. And y'all did.
Yeah.
I'd like to say we did, because I did help with my eyes.
It was an effort on the part of a lot of people, but Chad was... and, you know, others, but nonetheless.
It was a team project.
We actually...
It was intense.
I mean, they were kind of digressing, but what the point I was
We're allowed to do that, because we can have part 6 of the Apollo, too.
No one is, we're probably losing them quickly, all 3 of them. No,
I doubt it.
Anyway, the car was a quality built piece of machinery.
Absolutely.
And we took it apart. Even though it had been crunched in an accident and everything else, it was just a really, structurally, a very well-built automobile. The mechanical side, all the components in the Apollo were selected really by Milt Brown, who was the engineer behind the chassis and the drivetrain project. And I mean, the car is still to this very day, when you drive it down the highway, a beautiful, wonderfully handling, high-performance sports car.
Absolutely.
And reliable.
Oh yeah, the aspect of American components like the Shelby. I mean, but putting American engine drivetrain, Borg Warner T10 transmission, which was in the Corvette, 4-speed. You know, it was really an incredibly smart thing to do, because generally speaking, if not totally always speaking, I should say, European sports cars were like, for example, Lucas Electronics. Lucas,
the Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, was known throughout the world as the Prince of Darkness. Because, you know, lights would go. But I mean, and I'm not picking on the English, but
we could. If
we could. You know.
There was that's why the British all drink their beer warm, was because their refrigerators didn't work.
I used to drink a little warm beer in England, but anyway. Milt Brown did an extraordinary job. One of the underlying reasons that Milt decided to build a sports car was because of Buick's engine. In 1961, Buick introduced an aluminum block, aluminum head V8 engine. It was 3.5 liters, which is, I think, 208 cubic inches, I think, might be. But he saw that engine and the weight of the engine, backed up with a 4-speed Borg-Warner tranny. And he said, this is an ideal power plant for a GT sports car. And that's what prompted him to do the whole project. And of course, it fit beautifully with the Frank Reisner's plans. He was struggling to find a car to build. He was doing custom Italian cars. And so Reisner jumped on the chance to get involved in the manufacturing process of the Apollo. So when that car hit the street, even the prototype, it was mechanically ideal. A European car,
yeah,
not a good thing to drive on a day-to-day basis.
No.
Shook Enterprises has thrived on for years.
That's pretty much how I went to college.
Anyway, so the car, as Chad knows, having literally taken one apart and we reassembled the car for the Concours, is a very well built car, and you've driven them. Right.
Yeah, they handle and drive wonderfully.
Mm-hmm. And consumers at that time were desperate to have something that looked good and was reliable, because they were buying imports. There were the percentages of imports that were coming in at that time, and just the frustrations of the consumers they couldn't go and you couldn't take your MGTD, you couldn't take your XK120 to your local Buick dealer, and you could with the Apollo. And it really was a great idea.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We, for example, one of the problems with the Buick aluminum block, aluminum head engine that was quickly ascertained by use in Buick, and by the way, Oldsmobile used it in the F-85. Pontiac high-end Tempest had the V8, the little 3.5 liter V8 also available. But what GM thought was happening, that while casting the aluminum block, there are little pockets, little cavities throughout the block where water flows to keep the engine cool, and they thought that the cavities were collapsing while they were casting the aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
And that really was not the case. General Motors bean counters had intervened in the...
Wow.
One would never think that the chintzy bean counters, pardon me to all you CPAs and so forth, but the CFO guys were like, take a penny out here, just we'll do all. Anyway, so what they did was they put a Harrison radiator. Harrison is a division of General Motors. They manufacture radiators.
Uh-huh.
They put a 2-core radiator in front of the aluminum engine, thinking they really didn't need much radiator exposure for the tubes for the air to flow across because it was an aluminum engine. Wrong. Not right. Mistake. Big mistake.
Uh-oh.
Lack of flow of coolant through the radiator because it was so narrow caused the engine to heat. That was the underlying problem.
How have we already gone through 15 minutes already? We already got to take another break.
This was a short break.
Oh, is it a short break? All right, guys, stay tuned to the Bad Blonde Radio Show. We're going to continue with more classic car history.
30 minutes.
Huh?
We've been on the air for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Gonna open the door again.
Oh, yeah.
We went long on the first segment.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. I don't know.
Is this still videotaping? Okay, good. We actually I didn't get to videotape the first segment because I don't know what I did, but I messed up.
All right, you got a guide book, but we're drifting around a little bit.
Yeah, well, let's just come back and to kind of whatever your notes are, and you can kind of guide us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I'll digress.
Well, yeah, but there's so many
can
like tributaries of just if there's this path, there's that path.
Yeah.
Well, you can pretty much decide the path.
Okay.
And you can come on again if you want.
Well,
you can guide us. We're just kind of
other than the lady
energetic.
from Wisconsin who has a home in Padre Island. She and her husband and their car people who called me.
That's so
at the museum.
cool.
Did you hear the story? Yeah. You know, I don't know. Have you heard anything from anyone about? Did anyone listen to our show or?
I think so. I get. Well, I've definitely had some folks that are not local. They listen to they are following me on Instagram and they tune in. Especially there's an Apollo owner that was tuning in, Josh Bagley.
Yeah. Now where's he? Is he the guy in Austin?
I think he's in California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be watching this, so.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few other people reach out in interest. The Apollo's getting the most attention in quite a few years since the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, that was, when was it?
It was 2013.
2013, right?
Which was.
Just 8 years ago.
It was 20, yeah, because I only know
2013,
that.
it really was.
Yeah.
I was going to wear my Apollo t-shirt that has 50th anniversary. You remember
those are nice shirts.
Those were nice.
Yeah.
I wore my mom's at the last car week when I went and I followed the prototype, the spider around talking to it.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you were in Monterey, right?
Yeah.
At
the car
worldwide.
week.
The worldwide auctioneer. You were there when the.
Oh yeah, no, I was just accosting.
Did you know the editor of that famous British automotive magazine?
Classic and Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were with them, right?
I was. I tried to. I came upon them in the Spider, and I was like, "Well, I'm sorry. Can I help you? What are you doing?" And then they explained who they were, but I was like, "No, look, don't touch." They're nice. Yeah, I kept running into them throughout the weekend. I would see them at every car event I went to. They were there.
Anyway, if you want to go into like how you got dealerships to set up or
I'll be happy to. Yeah, we started touchdown on that in Monterey. That was that was the second deal. Yeah,
like how you got them to sell y'all's car, or whatever. How do you go about that? Going to a dealership and be like, hey, we got this car right here. Which you couldn't do nowadays at all, of course.
No, yeah.
There's no more.
I mean, there's too many.
You can't really
transportation restrictions, too many safety restrictions.
Even dealerships now. Dealerships have no. They're corporate owned now. It was kind of like, I think it seemed even back in the Ed Hicks days when he was starting or when I was younger that he had a lot of leeway on his dealership kind of. Now, from what I've known from people who work there and work in Volkswagen or whatever, I mean, it's just corporate down. You do everything they tell you to. You build the building the way that you get, your building choice, but it's their plans, it's everything.
Should I just leave this door open? It's so hot.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. Yeah. Hello, my friends. You are listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 90, I almost forgot whatever the FM is. 98.7 FM, brought to you by Competition Sounds. Thank you, Competition Sounds. Every once in a while, I might say that a million times a Saturday, and I will still forget what I'm saying mid-saying it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And every time I say our phone number, and if anybody wants to call in with any questions, it's 882-5397. I can't connect to the Wi-Fi, so I can't actually read any text messages, so if you're texting, guys, sorry. I don't know what you're saying. And we are talking all about the history of the Apollo, the most beautiful sports car you've probably never heard of. And also, what were we calling this? The
Ferrari killer.
The
what
American.
America's answer to the Ferrari.
It was America's answer. It was a 1960s solution to all the foreign imports of the day. And it was a great solution.
One thing we failed to mention earlier, I think.
I'm surprised because we've talked about a lot of things.
I mean, I mentioned the fact that one of the founders of the company was a gentleman named Ron Plescia.
Yeah.
Who was a designer, automotive designer, had gone to the Art Center.
And you came into this because you ran into his father, right? Randomly parking Lincolns.
Parking Lincoln cars, corporate cars, and having. Oh, anyway,
Six
we
packs.
won't digress.
Yeah.
Stay on target. The original prototype, which I mentioned, which was really kind of a disaster came to we had at the San Francisco Port of Car Show. I had not joined them, and I had not seen that car. All I had seen were photographs or drawings that rotted down on the later production car. But the car was redesigned in Italy after the prototype arrived. Reason being, the prototype was scary. Looked kind of like a shark, a beach shark. Not a pretty beach shark, but nonetheless.
Definitely not as refined as what it came to be.
Yeah, it was.
Agreed.
So a gentleman by the name of Franco Scaglione, who is a world famous automotive designer, Italy, designed three of the Alfa Romeo bats.
Oh, wow.
Which you've seen.
Yes.
Okay, those were
intense.
Franco Scaglione's. That was some of his greatest design work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Scaglione was called in after the prototype disaster to help redesign the car, and he did a magnificent job, as you know, because the finished product is what we've been dealing with. The Apollo prototype is owned by a Rothschild, and one of the Rothschilds in Los Angeles. So, thanks to Scaglione, we were able to get a car that had real appeal, and he saved our bacon.
Yeah, it's a beautiful vehicle, guys. If you're by your computer or on your phone, go ahead and Google Apollo GT sports car.
Or 3500 GT,
or 5,000.
Yeah,
that's probably smarter, because if I just say Apollo, if you just Google Apollo, you're probably going to get
into a space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Google Apollo.
There's also a new car.
There is.
A super
it's
car.
it's a super car that is called the Apollo.
Yeah.
Y'all should have trademarked that too.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the story.
Yeah. So with the help of Scaglione, as you know, was the designer of the Apollo Spider, the Roadster, the blue car that we sold at the auction. That was really his stem to stern, pretty much. So I mean, that car was, in my humble opinion, was absolutely the most gorgeous Apollo ever built.
It is, and I have a video on it, on that specific Apollo, the #1 Spider, on the Bad Blonde YouTube, if anybody wants to see what that one looked like.
And you drove that car, right?
I didn't drive. I don't think I drove it.
Did you drive it?
No.
Sorry.
Sad, I know, sad face. I'll miss out on that opportunity. It's okay, I've driven a lot of things, so. And maybe I'll drive one of the other two Apollos.
Better do that while they're still here.
Exactly.
Oh, they're not planning to go anywhere.
Okay, good. Did you see the fear in my eyes?
So, no. Chad, during the intermission, asked a question. He said, well, explain how do you market a car to a dealer?
Yeah.
I mean, understandably, how you market a car to the public is you try to advertise it or get it, which we successfully did, get road and track tested, Car Driver, Sports Car Graphic. We even had articles in Town and Country, some high-end Denise McCluggage.
Yeah, I was going to say Denise McCluggage did a good article.
Yeah, she did. I had one of my associates was a writer and had a couple articles, really humorous stories. She worked with me at the Long Beach Auto Show, International Auto Show in Long Beach, California. So we were there for a both domestic and imported, car show, and incredible. She worked the booth, and the questions about the car and so forth were just very interesting. So she wrote an article on it. It was featured in, I think, Road and Track. But anyway, so going to dealers is a completely different deal. And truly, my positive sales results related to developing dealers not selling cars out of the factory. Although I did that, and we did it successfully, that was a very limited amount of car volume. What happens with a dealer, having been trained by Ford, is you got to have a little road show, right? Kind of like a little Barnum and Bailey circus deal. So
I like it.
When I would go after a really big dealer, like the biggest sports car dealer in the United States in the early 60s was a guy in Southern California by the name of Frank Millard. Frank, Frank carried virtually everything. Jaguar, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, he had virtually, he was like a supermarket for sports cars, high end.
Awesome.
Frank, his logo was Frank Millard, the man in red. Right?
Was he always wearing red?
Oh yeah, he had.
Was it like a red suit?
This is the truth.
I'm intrigued.
First of all, I reconned the dealership. Right,
Yeah.
I need to get to know. So I go in as just a walk-in.
I like this.
Meet the sales force and talk about whatever cars that I showed an interest in.
Yeah.
To get kind of a feeling for the operation. Well, out of this office at the far end of the showroom comes this little guy in a red sport coat, right?
Is he wearing matching red pants?
Uh-huh.
Oh, God bless. I love this.
Guess what the shoes were?
What?
Red shoes with white soles.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And
what a character.
His driver, he had two drivers. He had a candy apple red Jaguar XKE, right? That was, he sold Jag.
Beautiful.
So that was his driver.
Yeah.
He had a candy apple red Cadillac Fleetwood limo.
Oh, my Lord.
With a candy apple red trailer attached to the rear bumper. And
oh, my goodness.
Within the trailer
uh-huh.
was his candy apple red English Bulldog.
Oh, cute.
And if you know English Bulldogs, they love to fall on the floor and sleep.
Yeah.
You know, they're just...
Yeah.
So Frank would bring, I've forgotten the dog's name, I must remember, it's very important. But anyway, so Frank would bring the dog into the showroom. And you know, you'd think the dog would go in Frank's office. Oh no, he'd make the rounds in the showroom. Did not, on occasion would lift his leg, but generally speaking did not. And he'd find a comfortable spot in the middle of the showroom and lay down and sleep.
Plop himself down.
So the persona of Frank Millard's dealership was Frank Millard.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I had to get him, right? We had to sign him up as a dealer.
What was your strategy after witnessing the gloriousness that is Frank Millard?
Yeah.
What did you decide to do?
So we had in the system the blue prototype Spider.
Yeah.
Up in Northern California.
The showstopper.
Yeah, Dr. Hayden Gordon, the original owner of the car, and who was a shareholder in International Motor Cars, had the car. So I asked Dr. Gordon if we could bring the Spider down. I had a coupe. I had two coupes. I had this bad blonde, okay, assistant who went to college with my late sister Sue at USC. And so she was the driver of course, the Apollo Spider with the top down.
Fabulous.
The blonde hair flowing, right?
Oh, I love it already.
Her name was Georgia Tanner. So anyway, and then I had a third guy driving the other Apollo. So we decided, we make an appointment with Frank. I arrive, all three cars pull into the lot.
3 Apollos deep.
Yeah, big.
Awesome.
Lot was on, actually it was lots on 3 corners.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, the whole place stopped.
Oh, I can imagine. How cool.
I mean,
I love that.
These 3 Apollos, red one, the blue Spider, and a black coupe.
Yeah.
Roll in,
boy.
right in the center, stop.
Yeah.
And Millard had a window, so he could see this. So
the...
Millard comes out, the dog comes out, the sales force. Anyway, I signed him.
Fabulous.
Right?
Oh, I love it.
Kind of show business, a little bit.
And those cars
100%.
would have stood out also against his lot, his inventory, because they look very distinct compared to most of the other European cars that he would have been selling at the time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, the comparable Ferraris that had a similar appearance to the Scaglione designed Apollos did not appear for 2 years later. With the headlights, literally they look very similar.
Absolutely, they do. Yeah.
And anyway, so each dealership required a different approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy in Santa Barbara, California. It was Butts's brother from Monterey, right? I think his name was David. He had a Buick Jaguar store, right? So I said, Santa Barbara is kind of upscale. little bit, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's West Coast.
It's
East
fancy.
Coast, right? It's like the Ivy League.
I worked there for like a day or two back while I was on the road. It was nice.
And it's really, really a neat town. So, I mean, your approach to him is completely different, right?
Absolutely.
But appointment, prompt, right?
And this is back when dealerships had a lot more leeway to do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, you
They
brought
could
that up.
Sell different brands together.
Absolutely.
Where now it's, you know, your GM and that's it. You don't touch, you know, you're not selling.
You don't dip your toes into Toyota.
Yeah, you're not doing that. So these dealerships could bring in another car, and that was basically their own little deal that they were going on with, and not even tied back to Ford if they were a Ford dealership. You know?
Right.
So there was a lot of.
However, there's one. I'm glad you mentioned that because before I got their story, Milt and Ed were trying to market the car, build the car. The car came to the United States, the first 1003, right? The first, what we call first production car that we have in our museum. And so they got a call from a guy named Irv Spencer Buick in Los Angeles. One of the biggest Buick stores in California.
Wow.
So Spencer said, I want to see that car. So Milt hooks him down to LA. And you know Milt's an engineer, right? He kind of doesn't really know how to sell, but he certainly knows.
He knows how to talk. He's got the gift of gab, that's for sure.
Anyhow, so they sign up. They don't have a franchise agreement or anything.
Wow.
So they sign up Spencer Buick to be their first legitimate dealer, right, in Southern California. And they ship him a car, right? He gives them a verbal purchase order for 36 cars.
Wow.
Right? Now they're able to build 4 cars a month, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they were building 1 a month initially.
Yeah.
Course, but anyway, so they had it iced. It's done. Well, we got one. Hey, 36 cars. That books us out for at least 6-7 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what Spencer does, he advertises in the LA Times. We have the Apollo by Buick.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
General Motors gets an immediate wind of this, and they come down on Spencer and say, hey, cease and desist.
Yeah.
Buick has nothing to do with that car.
Where did he think that was a good idea? I don't understand
why. Because Chad had it marked. I mean, the guys they were swinging.
They did whatever.
In those days, you could do about anything you want to do in a dealership, but don't tread on the name.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Don't say Buick by, Apollo by Buick.
Exactly.
It's an Apollo with the Buick engine. I mean, they're not going to object to the Buick engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to cover more of the Apollo history. Stay tuned to the Bad Blonde Radio Show. We're going to take a little break. I actually paid attention on that one.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Good.
No, I mean, he got.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
I actually looked and saw him. When it's just Chad, I'm looking this direction, so I can usually see him, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. Hey Chad, can you on your phone look at Google the Hobbs Hot Rod Run? Are you connected to the internet?
Yeah.
Oh, Google that for me. I can't connect for some reason.
Reset it.
Hobbs Hot Rod Run.
You Hobbs, New Mexico? Or what?
No, it's here. I'm gonna restart my computer. It's here, and it's going on today, and I wanted to mention it as a support.
Where the hell is it?
So it has a bunch of different stops, and then
Oh, it's a Hot Run.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and then it's all supporting Driscoll. And Gary Moore said he's driving an Aston Martin in it.
Yeah.
And why the hell aren't you driving the Chevy, the 41 Chev?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't really realize it was going on. Huh?
I mean, hell, you talk about a startling vehicle. The Chop 41,
Yeah.
the caution yellow over what is it, magenta over caution yellow.
Yeah.
That is an attention getter, and that
It
thing
is.
sounds like it's ready for the dragster.
I can only imagine. I'd be like,
It is tough to see. It's the
tough to
ZZ
see.
Top car.
It's a good car. Yeah, it's actually one of the best.
I only heard about it yesterday, but they're running like
If you have it, do you want to mention it, a little bit of it?
Okay.
I'll let you mention it. But it's Hobbs Hot Rod Run. Okay. I just want to make sure people know it since it's a good.
Oops.
Hello, hello, my friends. You are back listening to the Bad Blonde Radio Show. We've been covering the history of the Apollo, one of the most beautiful sports cars you've probably never heard of. We have George Finley in here. He was head of sales back in the 1960s. The first head of sales for the Apollo.
First and only.
And only, yeah. And before we get back talking about the Apollo, I did want to mention a local car event that's going on. It's the Hobbs Hot Rod Run going on today. Get on Facebook and search it. I know that they have a Facebook page. Chad, I know you have some of the information in front of you. Can you tell the folks a little bit about it?
Not really. I'm trying to find the information still, so.
I give you one task, young man. Anyways.
Okay, they're going to meet at Arnold Oil. Actually, it already started.
What time did it start?
At 10:30 to 12. They're going to cruise to Fisherman's Wharf.
They have a lot of stops on there, right?
12 to 2, just a place on the island. I think it goes out to the island from there. Stingray's Mansions Royale to 5 to 6. So you still have some time to look it up on Facebook. And if you've got a cool car or even just want to go check out some cool cars and have some fun.
Yeah, I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to hit up at the last stop, the Mansion Royale.
Where is the Mansion Royale part?
It's off of SBID, I think a little bit after, before you hit Flower Bluff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a nice image in here. I've had some fun times there going to different banquets and stuff. But yeah, so guys, if you're interested, check out the Hobbs Hot Rod Run. It is benefiting Driscoll Children's Hospital, so you can't beat that. Good time for a good cause. Now let's get back to talking about the Apollo. Now where we left was Spencer had put a crazy advertisement in LA Times saying the Apollo was done by Buick.
Yes.
All right, so let's continue from
He
there.
implied in his ad in the Los Angeles Times that this car was actually a Buick. Okay, that the Apollo by Buick was just another line of Buick automobiles.
Which, crafty, but
Oh yeah,
false.
slick. And giving the company this very significant purchase order for multiple vehicles, 38, I think, or 6. The boys in Oakland at the factory said, we're set, we're in business, right? Well, very shortly thereafter, Bev Spencer, canceled the purchase order, right?
Was it because Buick got after them for that time?
Buick said, you're not going to do that.
Unbelievable.
And he said, you're going to have to promote this as Apollo? As an Apollo? No, he said, who the hell knows about an Apollo, right?
Wow.
So that was.
Do you think that could have turned to the fate of International Motor Car Company if that order had gone through?
I don't think so.
Because it was just the car was underpriced.
Well, no. What I really think happened, because they did take an Apollo to 1003 was in the showroom at Spencer Buick. All right, and the salesman gagged and choked.
Why?
They didn't know what.
Oh, they didn't.
What is this? No one has told us anything about that. The car just appeared on the showroom floor.
Yeah, you got to arm them with knowledge.
Bev Spencer thought. I don't know what he thought. I guess he thought because it was Buick and people would flock in, and it did not happen. So very quickly, and then General Motors said, "You're not going to continue to advertise. This is not a Buick. We don't have anything to do with this car. We don't want the liability."
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's when I think they decided they need somebody to help sell the car.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I
and
got
there
the job.
George Finley walks in.
There's a solution to our problem is Finley, which was not the case at all, actually.
Well, you did sell.
And you were mainly in California, right? That was did y'all ever get a branch?
Yes.
farther?
No. I had 2 deals cooking when the B&A. I had a very significant sports car operation in Phoenix. I've forgotten the name. I think it was actually in Scottsdale that I had made the run over there and had a very successful meeting with the principals of the dealer, but I didn't get the order, but it looked pretty good. And then I was working diligently in Reno with Bill Harrah. Bill Hara owned
of Harrah's,
casino-
yes.
owned casinos. If you guys,
Yeah, and he has the National Automobile Museum in Reno. That's fabulous. Or he did.
which was when I was in the business, he had 1,186
Oh, yeah.
cars. He had the world's largest collection of automobiles in buildings in Reno, outside of Reno,
Yeah.
all of which were owned by the casino. He had 76 full-time employees
Yeah, it's
restoring cars. He also had Modern Classic Motors in Reno, which sold Ferrari, various other, but it was mainly it was one of the biggest Ferrari stores in the West Coast.
cool.
So I wanted Bill Hara as the dealer. So I met with Mr. Hara, fabulous character, wonderful guy. But I was not able to get his signature on the line to franchise him as a dealer, although we were negotiating up to the time the company collapsed. So yeah, those were the two, Arizona and Nevada, outside of California.
So what did the collapse look like? How did it
Well-
how did it go down? What did you do? When did you jump? You know.
Well, it was a startling event. Keep in mind, back in those days, we didn't have cell phones, and the communication was payphone on the corner, right?
Uh-huh.
So we had about a 4.5 month backlog of orders through the dealer network, right? We, by the way, I may have alluded to this in the first show, but the underlying problem with our companies, not the product was excellent, was the price. We were selling the car literally below our cost. And adding insult to injury, when you sell a car to the dealer, right, you have a manufacturer suggested retail price for the car at retail, and then you have a dealer cost, right? And in those days, the gross margin in dealers, which has changed dramatically, was at least 20%. So a $10,000 car would cost the dealer $8,000, right? So so you're not selling the car at 10, you're selling it at 8. And I mean, the quickest way to sell cars was to establish dealers. So by establishing dealers, I was exacerbating to the losses on the sale of cars.
Yeah.
So, nonetheless, the cash flow was excellent until you run out of cash. The kitty is empty. We lost, at the end of the show, the final number, we lost $130,000 in our production run, which amounted to, a couple $1,000 a car, roughly. Yeah. Now, I fought diligently in behalf, from the marketing perspective and the sales perspective, I made every effort to get the price raised.
Yeah.
Because I had very significant prospective customers who I had met face to face. These were Frank Millard customers, but I went out to sell the customer.
Yeah.
The most wonderful example, or the most, from an educational perspective, when I met with Elliot Handler and his wife Ruth Handler, who were
the Mattel?
Yeah, founders of Mattel Toys, Barbie and Kenny's parents. I went through the entire presentation. They drove the car. We were sitting in their office. They had just gone public.
They were sold, yeah.
Yeah, and they had a gold ticker tape,
so
24 karat gold, over Mr. Handler's desk, and he said, "I love it," but he said, "I'm not going to buy it, George. It's too cheap.
Yeah,
the price is too low. Everybody will have one."
That is an important. It's a golden piece of wisdom right there.
Yes,
you know what I mean. That's for sure.
Went nowhere.
Yeah. All right. The music is telling me that we have somehow gotten into an hour. Time flies when you're having fun, guys. Stay tuned next time. Listen to the Bad Blonde Radio Show every Saturday at 10 a.m. Good job. Great show, guys.
You guys did a great job. Thank you.
Please, George, you carried us. Thank you.
No. I mean, it's a story that,
I was going to talk about Mr. Potato Head. I didn't have George on.
Have you heard about that? They're no longer calling him Mr.
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, I was like, how more gender neutral can you get than being a potato head?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, is that supposed to be a compliment to women?
I don't understand.
I
have
don't.
no idea.
I'd rather him be a Mr. than a Mrs.
Well, I
but
would
they do
too.
have they have a Mrs. Potato Head.
I know.
That's it. Okay. I didn't even think about that until now.
Well, I think that might be more interesting than the Apollo legend.
I don't think so.
No, the Apollo's a good story.
It really is.
Well,
I wish we had gotten more into the, exactly, the emotions and exactly what happened when.
oh yeah, we didn't get that.
I know.
I didn't realize it.
It's okay. Well, I know. Time literally, it's you get into your subject and then you're like, oh, apparently I'm supposed to. The hour's over.
All right, guys. Thank you. It was fun.